Alexander the Great, one of history's most brilliant military minds, forged an empire that spanned from Macedonia to the edge of India. Over the course of a decade, he conquered lands far and wide, from the mountains of Asia Minor to the deserts of Egypt. But how did a young king from a small kingdom manage to defeat the largest empire of the ancient world? Today, we'll follow Alexander's epic campaign, highlighting the key battles, strategies, and territories he conquered, sometimes without a fight. Before Alexander embarked on his conquest, he fought alongside his father, King Philip II, at the Battle of Chaeronea. This battle was pivotal in securing Macedonian dominance over Greece. With a Macedonian force of 30,000 soldiers, including the famed Macedonian phalanx, they faced a coalition of Greek city-states led by Athens and Thebes, who fielded a force of 35,000. Young Alexander commanded the Macedonian left wing, facing the elite Theban sacred band. His daring cavalry charge crushed the Thebans, leading to a decisive Macedonian victory. This battle brought most of Greece under Macedonian control, a crucial first step in Alexander's future empire. In 336 BC, Alexander ascended to the throne after the assassination of his father. With enemies both foreign and domestic, Alexander had to secure his power quickly. He swiftly dealt with revolts in Greece, solidifying Macedonian control, and began preparations for his father's planned invasion of the Persian Empire. In 334 BC, Alexander embarked on his campaign against the Persian Empire, crossing the Hellespont with 40,000 soldiers. His army consisted of heavy infantry, the formidable Macedonian phalanx, and a powerful cavalry force known as the Companion Cavalry. As he stepped onto Asian soil, Alexander was aware that he was challenging the might of an empire that spanned 3 continents. Alexander's first major battle in Asia was at the Granicus River. Facing a Persian army of 25,000 soldiers, mainly cavalry and Greek mercenaries, Alexander's forces numbered around 40,000. The Persians took a defensive position along the riverbank, hoping to stop Alexander's advance. In a daring move, Alexander led his cavalry across the river first, attacking the Persians head-on. His companion cavalry clashed with the Persian cavalry, and the Macedonian phalanx soon followed. Despite the chaotic terrain, Alexander's forces overwhelmed the Persians. This victory opened the gates to Asia Minor, as many cities surrendered to Alexander without resistance. Following the Battle of Granicus, Alexander continued his march through Asia Minor. Many cities, including Sardis, Ephesus, and Miletus, surrendered without a fight, eager to be free of Persian control. Alexander's policy of respecting local customs and leaving existing leaders in power when possible won him the loyalty of many regions. By the end of 334 BC, most of Western Asia Minor was firmly under his control. Not all cities welcomed Alexander. Halicarnassus, a heavily fortified Persian stronghold, resisted. The siege of Halicarnassus lasted several months, with Alexander employing siege towers and battering rams to breach the city's formidable walls. The defenders fought fiercely, but Alexander's persistent assault eventually forced them to flee by sea. This victory secured Alexander's control over the southwestern coast of Asia Minor. By 333 BC, Alexander was ready to face the Persian king, Darius III, in battle. At Issus, Alexander's army of 40,000 met a Persian force that may have been as large as 100,000. Darius had chosen a narrow battlefield, but this worked in Alexander's favor. Alexander led a bold cavalry charge on the Persian right flank, causing chaos. Meanwhile, the phalanx pushed through the Persian infantry. Darius, fearing for his life, fled the battlefield, leaving behind his family and treasures. This decisive victory not only humiliated Darius, but also gave Alexander control over the entire eastern Mediterranean coastline. After the victory at Issus, Alexander marched south toward Egypt, a crucial Persian province. But instead of battle, the Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator. For centuries, Egypt had been under Persian rule, and they saw Alexander as a potential savior. In 332 BC, Alexander entered Memphis, where he was declared pharaoh and a living god, a title that secured his rule without a fight. During his time in Egypt, Alexander founded the city of Alexandria, which would become one of the most important cities of the ancient world. Now the undisputed ruler of Egypt, Alexander turned his attention to the heart of the Persian Empire. In 331 BC, he met Darius again, this time on the plains of Gaugamela. Darius had assembled a massive army, reportedly over 200,000 strong, including war elephants and scythed chariots. Alexander's forces, by contrast, numbered around 47,000. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander's superior tactics once again won the day. He created gaps in the Persian lines, allowing his cavalry to strike directly at Darius. For the second time, Darius fled, abandoning his army. The Battle of Gaugamela marked the end of Persian power, and Alexander became the ruler of the Persian Empire. After Gaugamela, Alexander marched into Babylon, the jewel of the Persian Empire. The city's gates were opened to him without resistance. He was welcomed as a liberator, and he made Babylon his administrative capital. From there, Alexander moved to Susa, the wealthiest city in the empire, which also surrendered without a fight. With Babylon and Susa in his hands, Alexander controlled the immense wealth of Persia. Though much of the Persian Empire had fallen, Alexander still faced resistance in the far reaches of Central Asia. The siege of the Sogdian Rock in 327 BC is a testament to his persistence. This fortress, perched on an inaccessible cliff, was thought to be impregnable. The defenders taunted Alexander, saying only men with wings could capture the rock. In response, Alexander ordered his men to scale the cliffs at night. Using ropes and pegs, they succeeded in reaching the summit, forcing the defenders to surrender without a fight. Alexander's final major battle occurred in 326 BC, against King Porus of India on the banks of the Hydaspes River. Facing a well-organized army that included war elephants, Alexander used clever tactics to cross the river under the cover of night. His army, though exhausted from the long campaign, fought bravely against Porus's forces. The Macedonians won the battle, but the heavy losses they sustained and the challenges posed by the Indian war elephants signaled the end of Alexander's expansion. After this battle, his men refused to march any further east. Following the Battle of Hydaspes, Alexander began the long journey back to Babylon. By 324 BC, he had conquered an empire that spanned from Macedonia to India, but he was far from finished. He had plans to expand his empire further, venturing into Arabia and beyond. However, his ambition to conquer further was cut short. In 323 BC, at the age of 32, Alexander the Great died in Babylon, leaving behind a legacy that would shape the course of history.